When I was a kid growing up in a small town in northern Pennsylvania, there was one road we were told never to go down. Lockridge Lane. It wasn't on any map. No street sign marked it. But if you biked out past the edge of town and down the gravel road behind the old lumberyard, you'd find a narrow dirt trail leading into the woods. And that was Lockridge Lane, or so the older kids said. I remember the first time I saw it. I must have been 9, maybe 10. My cousin James dared me to ride out with him one summer afternoon. He said there was an abandoned house at the end of that road, one that wasn't there in the morning, but would appear by evening. A house that, according to the stories, didn't want to be remembered. I didn't believe him, of course, not at first. We parked our bikes at the tree line. The woods were dead silent. I remember thinking it was way too quiet for summer. No birds, no insects, just stillness, like the world had pressed pause. We walked down the path maybe 50 yards before we saw it. A house, a 2-story weathered colonial that looked like it hadn't been lived in for decades. The wood was gray and splintered, windows shattered, paint long gone. A collapsed porch slanted downward like a broken jaw. But here's the part I'll never forget. It wasn't there the next day. I went back, same spot, no house, just empty woods. I thought maybe I'd imagined it, or maybe we took a wrong path, but James swore up and down that he saw it too. Years passed. I grew up, moved to Chicago for college, and tried to forget about that day. But in 2023, after my mom passed away, I had to return home to settle her estate. I hadn't been back to that town in over a decade. On my second night there, I had a dream. I was standing in the woods again. Same smell of damp earth, same heavy quiet. And in the distance, that same house. Only this time, there was a light on upstairs. The next morning, that dream still clung to me like smoke. I couldn't shake it. It was so vivid. The peeling wallpaper, the dim yellow light, the faint sound of something breathing. It bothered me enough that I decided to go back out to that old trail. I wasn't a kid anymore. I figured maybe the house had just been some forgotten ruin, something the town didn't talk about. Maybe I'd even find it again. So I drove out past the lumberyard. The gravel road was still there, though more overgrown than I remembered. The forest had swallowed most of it, but just beyond the thick brush, I spotted the trail. I parked and stepped out, crunching over dead leaves and twigs. As I walked, that same unnatural silence settled around me. No birds, no wind, just like before. After about 60 yards, the trees opened up slightly. And there it was. The house, same rotting boards, same slanted porch, same shattered windows. Only now, something had changed. There were footprints in the mud leading up to the front door. Fresh ones, not mine. I hesitated. Every instinct told me to turn around. But something, curiosity, pride, stupidity, pushed me forward. I stepped onto the porch, the boards creaking under my weight. The front door wasn't locked. It groaned open when I pushed it. Inside, the air was thick and stale, like mold and burnt plastic. Wallpaper hung in curled sheets, dust covered every surface. The floor creaked with each step, but otherwise the house was silent. No furniture, no signs of life, except upstairs at the end of a narrow hallway, one door was shut, and light, faint and flickering, leaked out from under it. I climbed the stairs slowly, every step groaning like it was crying out to be noticed. When I reached the door, I paused. That sound from my dream, the breathing, I heard it again. Shallow, rhythmic, human. I reached for the knob, and just as my fingers touched it, the light went out. The hallway plunged into darkness. I stood frozen outside the door, heart pounding in my chest. My hand still hovered over the doorknob, slick with sweat. The breathing sound had stopped. I whispered, "Hello?" No answer. I waited 10 seconds, maybe 20. Then the door creaked open, on its own. There was no one inside. The room was empty, save for a rusted iron-framed bed and a cracked dresser. The single window had been boarded from the outside. Moonlight filtered in through a narrow gap, just enough to illuminate something scratched into the wooden floorboards. I knelt down to look closer. It was a name, James, my cousin. I hadn't spoken to James in over a decade. Last I heard, he'd moved to Oregon, had a kid, left town, and never looked back. Seeing his name here, in this room, sent a shiver through my entire body. That's when I noticed the boards around the name weren't just scratched. They were splintered, like someone had tried to claw their way out. Suddenly I heard a thump. Not from the hallway, from the closet behind me. I turned slowly. The closet door was slightly ajar. I should have left. Every fiber of me screamed to get out, but instead I walked toward it. The moment I touched the door, something inside slammed against it from the other side. Hard. I jumped back, heart hammering, stumbling over the corner of the bed. And then, silence again. No breathing, no banging, nothing. I bolted down the stairs, nearly tripping as I ran. But as I passed the front hallway, something caught my eye. The mirror. It was the only clean surface in the house. No dust, no cracks, and in it, I saw someone standing behind me. I spun around, no one was there. The hallway was empty, dust hanging in the air. But the mirror, still perfectly clean, now showed nothing at all. Not me, not the hallway, just blackness. That's when I realized something terrifying. The front door was gone. Where it once had been was now just more wall. Same stained wallpaper, same rotted wood. No frame, no hinges, no way out. I ran back through the house, panic rising with every step. Every door I opened led to another hallway, another set of stairs, another room I hadn't seen before. The house was changing, rearranging itself around me, trapping me. Every now and then, I'd hear something just out of sight, footsteps above me, breathing, a whisper that sounded like my name. Ben. That was the first time I'd heard my name inside the house. The voice was faint, and somehow familiar, like it belonged to someone I once knew but couldn't quite remember. I tried retracing my steps, counting turns left, right, up, but it was useless. The layout never stayed the same. And then I found the room again, the one with the name scratched into the floor. Only now it had more names. James D. Ethan, Molly Daniel, and Ben, my name, freshly carved, the splinters still scattered around it. That's when the closet door creaked open again. This time, slowly, deliberately. From inside, a figure stepped out. Thin, gaunt, skin stretched too tight over its face. Its eyes were hollow, black pits. But even through that horror, I recognized him. It was James, or what was left of him. His voice came out in a rasp. "I told you not to come back." I stumbled back, but the door behind me had vanished, just like the others. James, or whatever wore his face, stepped closer. His head tilted at an unnatural angle, bones audibly cracking with each movement. He whispered again, "They never let me leave. They won't let you either." I choked out, Who? Who won't?" He didn't answer. He just pointed upward. I looked at the ceiling. Dozens of handprints. Charred, clawed, blood-streaked, like people had tried to climb out through the walls. Some were small, like children. Some had fingernails embedded in the plaster. And then came the sound. Not just one voice now. Dozens, hundreds. Screaming, whispering, crying, laughing. The walls began to pulse, like a living organism. The wallpaper bubbled and peeled, revealing eyes underneath, watching me, blinking in unison. The floor beneath me cracked. Long, pale arms reached up from below, grabbing at my ankles. I kicked and screamed, scrambling across the splintered boards. I made it to the corner of the room, and there, buried behind crumbling drywall, I saw it. A mirror, like the one in the front hall, clean, uncracked. Except this one showed the door. The original front door, still open, still waiting. I didn't hesitate. I threw myself into the mirror. I woke up in my car, still parked by the gravel road. The sun was rising, birds were chirping. And the house? Gone, no trail. No foundation, just trees. At first, I thought maybe I'd hallucinated it all. A dream, sleep deprivation, something explainable. But when I got home, there was a voicemail on my landline. A man's voice, weak, raspy. "Ben, it's James. I need you to listen to me this time. Don't come back." The call ended with the same faint breathing I'd heard in the house. And the worst part? When I checked my bedroom mirror that night, it was clean. Too clean. And behind my reflection, the door was open again.